was a typo, and I'm like, welcome under two capes. I'm Jared. I'm here with Jay Heat. What's up, brother? And I am here with Robert. What's up, man?
Yo, what up?
And today we are going to be discussing two things. We are going to be discussing Wonder Woman. The new history of the DC universe compared to the original history. And we're going to talk about a very special moment in Gail Simone's Wonder Woman run that was actually good.
Yep.
Kind of funny how that ends up. So let's talk about history first. So
let's talk about the original history first.
Yeah, the original. So post-crisis has happened. Crisis had happened at this point. So it's more like they needed
to combine the histories of 5 different Earths.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially two of which had very unique World War IIs.
Yeah, and I think they did it for the best for what they had to do. I think they did it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion. What about you, Robert?
Oh, I agree completely. Because especially, again, you could definitely tell the bulk of it was simply trying to tell what happened when. What is still canon? What is there? Just gave it all a nice starting point for everything.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Especially again, like I said before, I had to clarify World War II. They had to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, I know. But in terms of like the other thing that I felt was kind of interesting about the old one is who's it drawn by?
George Pérez.
Yep. And so automatically the art is great. But the other thing I really dig is, again, how it factor. And the interesting thing is George must have been in communication with DC because they in history go, oh, yeah. And a caveman killed a mother and her daughter and her souls were remade into the Amazon Queen.
Well, yep.
Essentially, they do that. What's up, NJ? But yeah, so I really dug that. And Jay Heat, have you read the original history of the DC Universe book?
I did, but I hadn't read it. It's been a while since I last read it, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's let me put it this way: these history books, here's what people have to understand: they're not really meant for the average fan.
No, they're for the writers first, readers second.
It's more for. What was I saying? It's more for the resources of DC itself.
And okay, Cameron, to answer your question, okay, not only were they trying to do a clean slate with Crisis, but also consolidate some IPs and comic brand imprints they had bought out. Yeah. So officially, I know Charleston Comics was one of them that carried over as one of the 5 Earths.
And Earth X.
Yeah.
Huh? Charleston?
No, Charleston and Earth X, which was
the Sons of Liberty. Okay, thank you.
Or the Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing about it is, and I talked about this because a shameless plug. Down the line for Athena, I want to do a lore book as a stretch goal. And one of the things that I was thinking about this, and I talked to some other guys about it. I love those lore books that expand upon the world and really show it's essentially world building because it really connects a lot of stuff and that's really what's important. And again, because NJ says that the new one is just Wade's history of the DC universe. Here's the thing, NJ. Here's what history is supposed to be, and Robert can back me up on this. It's just a starting point. So it's when the writers come on. Hey, what's up, Jorman Gander? It's so when the writers come on, let's say Wonder Woman, they have here's the starting point. Here's the basic timeline of what's canon with Wonder Woman. Go off of this. They could contradict it. They could do the whole retconning. But it's just so you because that's the problem DC had since Flashpoint. Because they rebooted and then they started to merge the universe together haphazardly, but then it's what's canon, what's not canon. The whole the way that they originally expressed it's all canon didn't help. Which was
No, I didn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything yet.
All right, but But that's the point there. It was more like, look, it's just a basis. So, like, let's say if Britt and I finally write Wonder Woman, it's so we can look at this book and go, okay, that's. Okay, so now we know what we can reference. And if it's not, like, brought up in the book, that doesn't mean we can't bring it up.
For example, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It just means this is the baseline, if you will. What do you want to say, Robert?
For example, when it comes to Wonder Woman, we now know it's made back again. It's her clay origin, not the Zeus origin.
Thank you.
But also, New 52 technically did happen, and they got reabsorbed back in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and anyone in this chat knows how much I really hate what DC did to the New 52. But I have to give credit where credit is due with New History. Wade was surprisingly respectful of this era.
Yep. And also the fact that with Supergirl, we needed that if you want to keep Crisis, because Supergirl was always the big hang up, is that you can't reference her deaths in Crisis because that would kill her.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so what do you do? So what they did is, again, they made it so she did die in Crisis, but Darkseid brought her back. Not only does that explain her coming back, it also explains, A, if you reverse the order of the Michael Turner book, why Superman was so overprotective, number one. And number two, it gives a nice little precedent / origin for her rage problems that will eventually manifest in her getting a Red Lantern ring.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's good. And yeah, Robert and I were like, how is he going to do this? And the minute we did this, he called me, and then we're both like, oh, wow, that actually is a great idea.
Now, here's the other thing. Just because Wade didn't mention every single detail event, which he couldn't, and not all of them were referenced in the back, doesn't mean they were retconned out. Like, I keep bringing up this example. Clark being involved in a drunk driving accident. He wasn't the driver, but a friend was, and he could have stopped it. It is probably still canon, but it wasn't important to mention or make a footnote of.
Yeah, exactly. And by Cameron brought this up. Yes, that is why Supergirl was originally killed. And yeah, there was too many because they went crazy with that. But at a certain point in Crisis, they were like, we have to, because like they still called him the last son of Krypton. Would you want to say, Jay Heat?
Yeah, and you still could have gotten away with reintroducing Kara sooner because you still had the last son. But that's a separate conversation for a different stream. But what I was mainly going to say is, I think Kara was shelved for about just as long as Barry was, if not more. Yeah. So I think it was by a couple of years.
No. Supergirl came back first. Barry had made some cameos, but he didn't come back until at least a few years later. Because remember, he came back. She came back before Infinite Crisis. He came back during Final Crisis.
2009, I want to believe, because I remember that. I strictly remember his Rebirth book.
Yeah, so it was 3 years different.
Yeah. That sounds correct from what I.
I could be wrong. Please look it up in the comments. I could be wrong, but I want to say Flash Rebirth, not 2016. Flash Rebirth before Flashpoint. Excuse me. Was in 2009, but I could be wrong. 2008, 2009.
Again, the thing is, of the creatives working at DC right now that DC had access to, Wade was the right choice. Because if there's one guy that knows DC lore pretty well, it's not Tom King, it's Mark Waid. I want to be clear on that. But that's where you go with that. And I know some people are like, why? Well, how about this creator, this creator? They weren't. They either weren't working at DC or wouldn't want the job. So there's that.
Exactly. And again, Wade, like I said, the only other people I can think about who could do it are not there.
Yeah, and again, it's like, guys, he's not going to be able to reference every single event with this. But it's like, here's the thing. I talked to Britt and Jit about this a while back with the whole Pérez thing, and I go, what probably is happening is he picked year one as the leaving the island part, and then like it could be like the rest of it is like the Pérez Gods and Mortals, because there are too many people in the Wonder Woman fandom that says he decanonized it. And I go, no, he didn't. No,
because there's a lot of stuff that wasn't in year one that could be that isn't contradicting Pérez either.
Yeah,
But are
because
we still
yeah.
on post-crisis new history?
No. The new history.
I'm sorry, new. Yeah,
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, look, it's like again, it's only a 4-issue series. If it was 12 issues, you might have remotely an argument.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 issues. He doesn't have that much space.
And even in the backup stuff.
One era for issue. Issue 1, mostly the Golden Age and early Silver Age, like post World War II.
Yeah.
Issue 2, Silver Age to Crisis. Issue 3, Crisis to the Bronze Age. And issue 4 technically starts right before the New 52. Me personally, I would have included post crisis, all of post crisis in issue 3, but hey, you didn't have the pages for it.
Yep. Wait, so I see what NJ's asking.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Julia and well, I can tell you one thing. Here's how you know that the Pérez run is still canon, that Gods and Mortals still happened. Vanessa exists.
Well, to be fair, she was already brought back during Robinson's run.
No. What I
true.
mean is, like, the character exists. The character references Diana, like, hanging out when she first came to Man's World. That still happened, people.
True.
I'm just like, what? I'm just like, guys, stop. He can't reference everything. It's just like, here's the origin. Here's what happens. Here's the origin. Here's what happens.
Again, they're going for key moments and everything. And you're meant to basically say, like, unless it's contradicted, just assume it's still there.
Yeah, and the other thing, it's like, it really annoys me. It's like, here's the thing. Here's why not a lot of Wonder Woman was referenced. Here's the sad truth. And I say this as a guy that obviously is a huge Wonder Woman fan. Now, Wonder Woman has not had that many events or many stories that affected the overall DC universe. This book was what's happened that affected the larger universe. Because she does a lot of small scale stuff, right, Robert? And he's
exactly.
Yeah, so it's not like, so you can't expect like everything to like align, but as far as I'm concerned, I think he did a pretty decent job, particularly explaining like all the constant reboots and stuff. What do you think, Jay Heat?
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. He covered a lot
definitely.
of beats.
And the good part is that, hey, at the end of it, they say time is constantly shifting, so this could change, or all of this could be thrown out. It's just time changes. And then they just say, here are the different possible futures of DC.
Definitely. That's what they did in the original, but they've added more since then.
Well, yeah, and that's the smart thing to do. You leave yourself an out so that, look, it's just that you don't have one canon ending future. You never want to have that with ongoing comics because you're likely never going to reach that ending. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. So it's like overall with the series now in terms of like do I wish it were long? I do think it could have used a few more pages, but overall it's like it's a summary. And again, it's not supposed to be like the be all end all DC universe thing. That's it. It's not supposed to be that. It's like inevitably there'll be contradictions.
But what I like, but we agree this. But as we said earlier, the whole point of both of these books was more for a reference. It's like the equivalent of the Marvel's the official handbook to the Marvel Universe books. Now, granted, those are way more detailed.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like me grabbing my copy of the Marvel Encyclopedia and going off of that.
Exactly. But those were mentioned in the backup.
And Jay says, I can't remember right now, but did he mention War of the Gods and Witching Hour, both Wonder Woman events?
That was in the back stuff, yes.
Yes, he did both. He did. In the back is more of like a general timeline of here are some things I did talk about, here's some stuff I didn't talk about, and this is the best thing he did. He gave references. He gave citations, so you can look up those stories if you want to. Hey, what's up, Black Reaper?
Yeah, the whole point of the stuff was Flash was more to give it a narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And Cameron says, "Do we really expect him to follow his timeline?" No, but but Wade left them an out, saying time is constantly changing. It's just again to establish a here's what's canon, here's what's not, so that writers aren't like where do I start? What's canon? How do I do
Again,
this?
they've been needing that ever since Rebirth.
Yeah, it's like
Or they've been needing since New 52, to be fair. You needed that 5-year gap.
yeah, exactly. They should have had that like come in there, and yeah, some events probably would not have been canon, or like some Robins would have been truncated. But it's like you needed that eventually, so it's like inevitably that was going to happen. But,
Exactly, but
yeah,
but again, I'm surprised they kept as much as they did.
Yeah, I know.
And here's the other thing: they left wiggle room to what from New 52 is still referenced. They left wiggle room of that.
Yeah, they could bring more stuff back. It's just again the starting point. This is the skeleton. Now we're gonna add on a bunch of stuff. Hey, what's up, Parker?
Exactly.
That's the point. And you know what? Yeah, I support this. And again, this is one of the first times DC was not petty about the new 52 to the degree they've been since Rebirth. I want to be clear on this because since Rebirth, it's been like, let's like knock it down because it sucks. With this, it's like, we're going to keep what we can keep. We're going to get rid of what we have to get rid of for the canon, but everything about it has value. They kept the entire Justice League run.
Exactly.
They did.
Like, even the Graves part, that surprised Robin.
The only thing that's probably up in the air is the Amazo virus, but other than that.
Yeah, but again, that one is like relatively small scale, so you could like have that in there. But the fact that they kept in the Graves one, the hero's journey, because Robert and I were like, there's no way they keep the villain's journey.
They did.
Oh, and NJ says, is Hippolyta a time traveler? No. In the history, the way it works now is Hippolyta was always the first Wonder Woman to leave.
Yep, and as we've said before, Wonder Woman has been a mantle.
Yeah, it's kind of a black canary situation where essentially the daughter takes over for the mother.
Yeah,
but what really makes this work too, though, and Jared and I have talked about this, is that this gives them even further reason why she was all like, nope, we can't, I'm not allowing you back there, because like, while there are good men, there's more evil men.
Because let me put it this way. If she stayed just for World War II, she saw probably concentration camps. If she stayed past World War II, she saw McCarthyism. Either way, she doesn't have the highest opinion of man's world.
Exactly.
So it's like that one. Logically, that actually explains it so well. I'm
exactly.
Really, that just clicked. I'm like, oh wow, that works. And again, it doesn't minimize Diana as a character.
It doesn't.
I need to be clear on that because I see that repeated too many times, guys.
And again, it's like we've already had Hippolyta. We've had Artemis. You cannot. Artemis's first story involved her becoming Wonder Woman.
Because again, the contest was held to determine who's going to be the champion of the Amazons, aka Wonder Woman. Like put this way, if let's say Artemis or Antiope or some other random Amazon put the armor on and showed up in man's world and did what Diana did, she'd be called Wonder Woman.
There was a Super Friends episode where the villains went back in time and changed the origins, and Cheetah became Wonder Woman because she won the contest.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's kind of the way that it works. Then Parker says, I don't know if it's just me, but I've always liked the idea of Hippolyta being Wonder Woman World War I or two. It was two. It's probably just me. No, I like this. I like it too because I don't like Diana being old as dirt. And if DC is determined to keep a Wonder Woman in the Justice Society, this is the best alternative.
Because he's the only one that would make sense to fit into the of the Trinity to be in World War in the Justice Society.
Because they're not doing Batman. Because unless it's the Generations book by John Byrne, it's not going to be Batman or Superman.
Yep, even if they time travel, it's made clear Superman didn't exist until the present day. Same with Batman. Exactly. Wonder Woman, you can make the argument.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not to say Diana herself is not immortal. It just means that by the time her role in the DC universe happens, she's not like ancient.
Exactly.
which I think is a
I mean, if
stupid
we go
idea
by
to
what
begin with.
new history shows, she's the youngest of the Trinity.
Yeah, exactly. She's the youngest, which I kind of like that. That actually works really well.
Wait, Wonder Woman. Okay, so where are we going with this?
Oh, sorry, that was the original history I meant.
Yeah,
I'm about to say, I thought y'all were going Timverse with it. Like, what the hell?
No. In the original history it showed, if you remember, you had the birthing matrix. So that means Clark wasn't born until he landed on Earth. And it's around the time he landed is when the wings were killed. And then not long, it was after all that Diana was formed from clay.
I got you.
It's like Diana was formed from clay around the time that Martian Manhunter was teleported to Earth.
Yeah, but that was the original history. The current one, I still think they're about the same.
Yeah, let me put it this way. He didn't outline it, so I'm just going to make that assumption.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like that's where we stand right now in terms of history. And it's like, look, it's like it was needed. Do I expect it to remain pure? No, absolutely not.
No.
But it's not intended to.
I know. It's like even the original wasn't pure and didn't last that long.
It's just because it's just so if like Robert and I went to DC to write something, we have something to go off of what we can reference and what we could not.
And Supergirl, and believe it or not, then the Sophie Campbell Supergirl then added something else that surprised us. That was the Zor-El as Cyborg Superman, of which, while they don't mention the story, my guess is he got turned into a cyborg after his death during New Krypton.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, they're keeping a lot of stuff that I felt was like, okay, pretty interesting, and like they're aligning it to canon more.
Mm-hmm. Which
again, I appreciate that. And by Cameron says, not gonna lie, I like the League's origins happening simultaneously. Yeah, that's it. That's an interesting like way to like time it up. But as long as Diana is not like the oldest one by 1,000 years, I'm happy.
Yep,
which can work in movie adaptations, but this not so much.
It doesn't work, and I hated how they brought it into comics for no reason other than synergy.
Yeah,
like not everything has to synergize with the movie. I guarantee you, no one's gonna walk into a comic book store and go, "She's not thousands of years old. I'm not gonna buy her comic."
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I want to buy Thor. Who's this girl? It's not like that.
No,
not like that at all. But and that's why DC does this way better. No grandma wonder. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Plus, it also means that Diana can't be in a relationship with anyone from this time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they really thought that through. But yeah, so that's where we're gonna leave history before we get to like Wonder Woman. But before we do that, I'm gonna play the trailer for Athena. So let's do that.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sutragar, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
All right, so and I put the link in the chat, and it will be pinned in the chat, so you guys can go back that if you feel so inclined. We're making good progress. We are at we have 27 backers so far with 51 days to go. And by the way, if any of you had happened to back it in the chat, go ahead and drop it in there so I can give you guys a shout out. So now we're getting to part 2 of this episode. Transition. I had to. So Robert brought this to my attention that so as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of Wonder Woman by Gail Simone. I like most of it. Let me put it to you that way. I like most of it.
Right.
So there's an issue at the end. It's Wonder Woman 600. At least at the end of the omnibus. I'm not sure if that was the end of her run.
Oh, yes, that was the end of her run because that led right into JMS's run.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was wondering. Okay. So it's drawn by Pérez, I believe.
Yep.
And so what this shows the positive effect that Diana had on the DC universe, because, and this is something that like I felt was like very great. So
Okay, here's the story. I'll explain the story.
yeah, go ahead.
It's a short story. It's also a bit of an epilogue for Perez's run. And it's basically Dr. Ivo has created a bunch of cyber sirens that have seduced all of the men in Washington. So Diana puts out a call for all women to show up because they won't be affected. I guess we're supposed to assume Superman, Batman would be affected. And basically every heroic woman shows up. And the moment Jared loves best, it perfectly summarizes her. You have Manhunter, Kate Spencer asking Rose Wilson Ravager, this isn't your kind of gig. Why are you here? She asked, I came.
Yep, and that succinctly in like to a T summarizes the effect that Diana has and why she's the most important, because the point where you could have close to supervillains but like anti-heroes show up just because Diana asked for help, that should tell you something.
Then you have Bulleteer, and this is the first time this is Grant Morrison's Bulleteer, and saying like, you probably don't know who I am. You did good, Bulleteer. It's like, she knows who she is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's 100% something Diana would do. And that's the point. It's like, I'm pulling up issue 600 so I can share it. But again, it's drawn by George Pérez, the god of Wonder Woman. I have to say that.
And it has Vanessa give her, she's graduating college.
Yeah, like, look at that, guys.
Yep.
Again, it's Pérez, and he draws the perfectly proportioned Wonder Woman. Yeah, it's every superhero. And then right there, she asked, I came. And I'm like, that, again, it's like if Diana calls you, even like her villains, because there's been times when like Giganta will team up with her, or like,
they respect her. No, none of her villains fall on hate her.
Except for Cheetah, unless she's being written by Greg Rucka. I had to. Or Sovereign. But it's like, the point is, or really, I would say Grail. But the point is, it's like, there's always this mutual respect between Diana and her villains. And that's extremely rare nowadays.
Which is better than, notice I don't have any villains because I kill them.
Oh my gosh, Jeff Johns, of all the characters that he cannot write, Wonder Woman, he writes almost everyone else fine. Almost, but it's like Wonder Woman is the one and it's like he's written some good Wonder Woman moments too. The ice cream scene is him.
Yep. But yeah, you look at throughout all of this. Show the rest of it.
Yeah, I will. All right, here we go.
You have to look. They're all there. And I love it when they finally save the day. For example, you have, I think, Huntress walking up, or Batwoman, one of them, walking up to question Renee Montoya saying, you going to ask for an autograph? I'm working up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone is like in awe and intimidated by Diana, but intimidated in a good way.
And you have some who are like, I could take her.
Yeah, exactly. And then they finally, he respected the hell out of Cheetah and New 52. Yeah. Again, that's one of the characters that maybe he did write well, but Diana herself, for the most part, Jeff just, I have yet to see a really perfect Jeff Johns Wonder Woman moment. Anyway, so then to cap it all off, Diana attends Vanessa's graduation.
Her college graduation, yeah.
Yeah, her college graduation, and gets to be there, and it's like, it's like to cap it all off, and what a way to end a pretty solid run, if I may say so myself.
And like I said, Pérez didn't draw and write it. Him drawing it having Vanessa and all that in here, it makes it clear this is a cap up. This is the epilogue his run never got.
Yeah, exactly. And kudos to like Gail for letting him do it.
Yeah, I bet you she even asked, like, what would you do for the end? And this is
Yeah,
probably what he suggested.
it even says in the credits, penciler and inspiration.
Yep.
Because let's face it, if you're nowadays post-crisis, and I mean after the crisis stories happen, if you are writing Wonder Woman in some way, you are in some way inspired by George Perez. He had that big of an impact on the character.
Exactly. And again,
Right.
the artwork is perfect.
So Jay Heat, what's
George
your
Perez
opinion?
is pretty much the quintessential Wonder Woman run. Like, I'm gonna be objective here.
Yeah.
Like, say what you will about provocative takes, say what you will about other creative freedoms, but if you are actually going to have one articulate storyline or overall run you're going to take as a baseline, it's George Perez's. Between the lore, the action, the connection to the Greek mythos, you're going to be inspired by George Perez to some degree. I'm sorry, it's going to happen, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, yeah, exactly. Now, what did you think of the Gail Simone run?
It was a good tribute to George Perez, especially
The overall run.
That's what I'm saying. The overall run, not one specific aspect. But at least this right here, what's seeing on screen, yes, it was a good tribute to Perez, and like you said, an extended epilogue. But overall, it had its ups and downs. But it was never going to be as good as Perez's run. But it was good for what it was, especially compared to the type of stories we're getting now. So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I commend it for what it is.
Yeah, I would say so myself. It's one of the run itself. Tom King want us to. No, what he said was he originally didn't want to write Wonder Woman, but then he felt that at the funeral for George Perez, and this is just like him to make the funeral about George Perez all about him, that he felt Perez was challenging him. And my reaction is George Perez in the room with us right now?
Is it, or the ghost?
Is his ghost thing? In that case, do we have to call the Ghostbusters?
No, because I wouldn't want George in that trap.
No, I know.
Come on, man, low blow.
I know. But it's like that's the point. I'm like, bro, don't make the funeral all about yourself.
Yep. Oh, by the way, one other thing I gotta say is the fact that everyone's saying like somebody or like those of us of drinking age want to go to the bar. You want to come with? The president wants to talk to you. No, I got something more important to do. What could be more important than any of that? Yeah,
being there for Vanessa. Again, this is there have been parts of this run, like the Tom Tressa relationship where Diana acted wholly out of character. But there's mostly moments like this. That's why, again, while Simone is not my favorite Wonder Woman run, it's one that I occasionally go back to for like inspiration.
Now, this is one. Now, if we're talking about tribute issues, this is one that comes to mind a more recent example that comes to mind. What Titans Academy was hot gabrahe. We can all acknowledge that.
But the
Perez Wolfman tribute issue with that mini Man Bat ripoff, what's his name? Chupacabra or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, his uncle was Perez.
Chupacabra, I love that. It's so funny.
But his uncle was Perez, pretty much.
His uncle was a stand-in for Perez. So that tribute for what was essentially a lackluster, if not bad run, that was a solid tribute. That's the one thing I can't take away from.
Same with Tom Taylor's tribute in Nightwing.
Yeah, I can't take that away from him. Like, regardless of how I feel about the run as a whole, that tribute issue was nice. So I can't take that away from them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like it's one of those things where like going through this particular issue, and this is why I say it's not hard to write Diana, because here's the thing, and this was my point about the Tom King run. Everything he has set out to do, whether or not giving Diana a child, making us convincing us that Diana is awesome, has been done better by infinitely more talented writers beforehand. That's my point covering this, because that's the funny part about it. This has been done so much better.
Okay, and heck, a lot of it was done by one creator, Byrne.
Yeah. Oh,
Wonder Woman's characterization was never really a problem for Wonder Woman. Say what you will about the edginess of the 90s. Believe me, it's a lot worse than you actually think it is if you live through that decade. But say what you
I
will
was
about
born in the later half of that.
so was I, but I actually took the time to read the trade paperback, and boy, was the extreme fad atrocious in DC. Like it was, woo!
You guys remember I was born in '85. Thank you for reminding me how old I am.
You're welcome, old timer.
I'm making a point.
Kid.
Grandpa Robert.
I'm making a point. I assure you.
Go ahead.
But yeah, characterization for Wonder Woman was never really a problem. Yeah, the biggest issue of her titles is usually the scaling with her villains and trying to interwove that with an overall story. Like, are you going full warrior woman where she kills her enemies, or you're trying to have her be the ambassador of peace?
Mm-hmm.
That was always the biggest problem with Wonder Woman in terms of actually crafting a story consistently.
That was something Jerry and I have talked about. When you really, really look at it, from Pérez all the way onward, there have been at the very least solid Wonder Woman runs. But when you really think about it, they never had events, and the reason why people don't talk about them, like the fact Jared has said, Byrne, it caught him by surprise how good it was, is because unfortunately there's nothing in those runs that would get mainstream attention like Superman or Batman or even Flash or Green Lantern.
The stories themselves and the characterization was great, but there were no big events or direct crossovers within the overall run. A lot of Wonder Woman's highlights in story, mind you, are either in connection to the Trinity or in ensemble titles.
Yeah, I mean, again, the only things you might recognize are stuff like the characters that have continued on. Hippolyta becoming Wonder Woman, Cassie Sandmark, etc.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, again, what surprised me is like a lot of major changes and additions come from that run, but no one talks about it.
Yeah, like that's the one that brought Artemis back. Otherwise, she would have stayed dead.
Bless you. Double bless you.
Thank you. But yeah, it's like on that, and I'm like, why isn't this mentioned that much? But again, it's because then you also have creators that don't want to do Wonder Woman events, like King too, even though he knows that like an event could also help raise her name, like he's trying to do.
But yeah, he's never been an event creator. When you really look at it, his events are just like War of Jokes and Riddles, which is self-contained to the story. He's never been one to do, to think of it in that tenure, which he doesn't have to be. Not everyone is capable of it.
But if you're writing a character that needs an event,
that's
where it really like gets to me. I get that. If you were writing any other character, like, here's the thing. Batman, his events typically don't involve the entire DC universe.
Nope. Superman's does
because it's Superman and he's fighting aliens.
I mean, come on, look as far back as what was it? Panic in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
That was still in Superman, but involved everyone.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point there. But with Wonder Woman, she needs a good event because that brings more eyes on the book. But no, he's like, I don't want to be the guy that has to tell people what to write.
But here's the thing, though. Besides being a rehash of War of Gods or Trial of the Amazons, you need someone to come up with something like completely original, I think, for it to work. Like the Dark Gods could have been an event. Unfortunately, it was right in the smack down in the middle of Snyder's run, building up to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree to that? Like it's like for Wonder Woman to have an event that's not a rehash of those two aforementioned ones. It's going to have to, or involve the new gods. It's going to have to be something wholly original.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point there.
Jay Heat, would you agree with that too?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I can't deny that. I would agree to that.
Yeah, because that's the only way you can come, because otherwise they'll just be rehashes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and again, that's also where you have to be more selective of who you put on the character. Because again, if you have someone on there that knows the character and loves the character, guess what that leads to? It leads to people coming up with new ideas. And yeah, NJ is not the largest fan of Trial of the Amazons.
Right.
Okay.
I just thought it was bad. I wouldn't go that far, but I just thought it was bad.
It's because of the Hippolyta stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. You could say it's boring or something like that, which I could see where you're getting there. But at least at least as opposed to bringing in Batman to solve a murder, they actually use Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something there. But yeah, so that's where I think we should leave this episode. This was a good one. Again, so tomorrow for Under Two Capes, we'll be having DC, a writer that has written a bunch of DC animation in the past, Ernie Altbacker, and he'll be promoting his indie comic. And we'll be asking him questions about, because he wrote like Batman Hush and Justice and such. So we'll be getting all the deets on him. And then for Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I will be doing an entire thing. Like, what if they actually did the wedding of Superman and Wonder Woman? How would that go? And Amazon Answers, I'm talking about Children of the Gods. Be sure to back Athena and let me know when you're doing the comments of this stream or like in the comments of any of my other stuff, and I'll give you a shout out on the next piece of content. Jay Heat, where can we find you and what have you got coming out in your channel?
All right, you can find me at JHeat75 or JHeat Blaze. I'm actually starting The Walking Dead Telltale for Halloween. I'm actually trying to wrap up at the very least season 2 before Halloween. Also, I am going ahead and confirming a date for New Direction Heroes in Crisis. I want to have it done within the next week or two, by this time next week. Also, Robert, DM me your time for we can do that collaboration
Will do.
planning. I want to get that done by next week as well. And just like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to back Athena, everybody. Jared's really put his heart and soul in this one. Shout out to Britt for the voiceover, and just glad to be here.
How about you, Robert?
Tonight I'm going to be let's playing for my last retro horror game. I'll be doing Clock Tower the Rewind edition. For my stream tonight. Tomorrow I'll be going over Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, and after that I'll be starting. I have my AVGN 8-bit review on Saturday. Then after that I'm gonna start streaming Dispatch.
Hell yes. Now, Robert, how far have you gotten in the game?
I've gone up to episode 3, and believe it or not, I'm just constantly restarting the Dispatch portion so I can actually try and get 100% on it first.
I've only gotten 100% once so far. I may restart
I've gotten it twice. The practice in the first episode and in the second one. The third one has so many random elements.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. Zoe is the max about for life. Back Athena. I'll play the trailer and then the outro. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Centragon, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.